This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
So what month are you in?
My pregnancy?
In your pregnancy, sorry, yeah.
I don't know. I just keep track of weeks. I'm 22 weeks. So like month, what is that, 5? Almost
something
6?
like that. So you're like
24 is 6 months. So I'm in 5.5 months.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'll probably have them in the next like 10 to 12 weeks.
Oh, because you have them early?
Yeah. You only carry triplets. I mean, the goal is to make it like 32 to 34 weeks. But they often come early. So
are you nervous what this is going to do to your body?
Yeah.
Have you even thought about it?
Okay. Oh, absolutely. So it's actually crazy because with Sunny and Banks, I had them really close apart. I got pregnant with Banks when I was 6 months postpartum with Sunny. Yeah. And with both of them, I was like, I don't know, bounce back really quick. Belly only pregnancy. Like I was like cute and loving being pregnant. And with this pregnancy immediately, like before I even knew I was having triplets, my body was changing already so different. I was showing it like 9 weeks. And I was like, something's off with this pregnancy. Like, I just know my body is swelling. It's like changing in all these different ways. And then I found out I was having triplets. And first thing I do, I immediately Google triplet pregnancy bellies. And they're all these purple, veiny watermelons. Yeah. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, no. I'm like, that can't be me. But it's actually been really good because I feel like I've had to let go of a lot of like physical attachments to my body and my personality. I had extensions for like 9 years. I took out my extensions. I'm like doing all these things where I'm like, okay, I'm going to work on like healing my body and healing myself on the inside. And I know that I'll probably have a tummy tuck or something someday. I'm like, I will definitely be, all that's going to be so stretched out. But I've had to literally just get rid of it because like rid of that expectation of me looking good or bouncing back or anything because this pregnancy is so different.
Well, I'll tell you something funny talking about tummy tucks is I'll probably get one at the end of the year.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So, because I've lost like 80 pounds.
Yes,
and so by the end of the year, I'll probably be about 90 pounds down.
All the loose skin. Oh my
I
gosh.
just have loose skin, yeah.
That's amazing.
So,
yeah,
I think nowadays it's like, whatever.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, because, even 10 years ago, people would be like weird about plastic surgery. It's just like, just go do it. Make yourself look good.
Well, it's so funny because I got a boob job from Nick in August.
Oh, did you?
And I was like, I was supposed to get a lift and I was like, I'm going to wait. I'm going to have like one more kid, I think. So I'm going to wait to get a lift. And he's like, okay. And literally found out I was pregnant with triplets. And he literally messaged me and goes, praise the Lord, we did not do the lift. I'm like, I will be rolling into your office immediately after. So I've accepted it all. I'm like, whatever I need to do after, it's fine. I'll just not worry about it now and take care of myself. And
that's cool. So were you guys, were you taking medication to get triplets or was it just straight natural?
No, spontaneous. We were so shocked.
Because I mean, most people are on like, Clomid or like whatever, Clomid,
right? Yeah. Or like if they do IVF, they'll like implant 3 eggs or 2 eggs and one will split. But yeah, my dad is actually an identical twin. And they say that identical twins are not genetic, only fraternal twins. Oh. So I'm like, if people are like, do twins run in your family? I'm like, yes, but I guess technically like that's not supposed to be genetic. So I don't know how this happened. Yeah. But we're excited.
That's fun. You guys are superheroes basically, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's cool because like I just kind of talked about this on my podcast, but our whole story of like, we took the last 2 years. We had Banks. We took the last 2 years to really work on ourselves. Casey joined Watt. Yeah. Like I joined my own coaching group and like, it's been cool because I feel like what
coaching group are you in?
Gentle Warrior.
Oh, Gentle Warrior. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And I was in Watt Queens, which like got me started on my like. I did not even read any self-help books or anything. Like Casey would be like, read How to Win Friends and Influence People. I'm like, that's stupid. Like boring. I don't need any of that. And then I like went through a really hard time right before Casey joined Watt. Mm-hmm. We kind of hit like rock bottom and we were like, okay, we need something to pull us out of this. So he joined Watt. I joined the Queens at first and then switched Gentle Warrior. And it was really cool because like we literally just spent the last 2 years like traveling, working on our relationship, working on ourselves. And then we find out we're pregnant with triplets, like right when the group ends, Casey's group 1 ends. And then we have the triplets like the next month. Yeah. And so it's like, wow, like this timing has just been so crazy. Cause like, I feel like we got really good time to really work on ourselves while we're going to be like head down for the next few years. So
yeah, your life is about to change, right? Yeah, I said that normal babies, but like triplets has got to be busy.
Every triplet mom that I talk to is like, don't expect to like keep up with friendships or relationships or anything. Like let people help you, but like you're really going to be in it, like in the thick of it for a few years. So
well, your friends just need to step up and come to your house.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Just give you some.
Oh yeah. I've already had friends like come over and like do my dishes or help with laundry or whatever. So it's hard for me to accept help in that way. I'm like sitting there and they're doing my dishes. I'm like, can I help you? Help me? It's awkward sometimes, but yeah, I'll have to get good at accepting help.
That's nice.
So
you've your social media has grown recently, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I like I don't pay all that much attention, you know, but like when I got into message you, I was like, oh, I feel like she's up a lot. Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had like 5,000 followers before I got pregnant with triplets, and then I have I don't know, like 38,000 now. Yeah. And it's crazy.
So what made it go?
Good and bad. I think literally I had a couple of videos go viral of me finding out I'm pregnant with triplets. And oh my gosh, there's so much I could say on this. It's so good because, okay, I'm going to backpedal a little bit. When I was making my vision board this year, I had quit working last year in June. And I was like, I just feel like I really need to be in like my mom era, like focus on my family. I've always been a career girl, like, and I just felt like I need to stop working. Stopped working June last year. And then when I was making my vision board this year, I don't really know why I didn't put a lot of thought into it, but I started like taking a lot of pictures and putting it on my board that said like, I make money by being me, or I make money in my sleep, or just things like that. I've always contributed financially to the family. I didn't feel like I really needed to this last year. And I still don't feel like I need to, but I'm like, I feel like I can. Like, I feel like there's something about me where I can make money without feeling like I'm having to like go out and work a job. I didn't know what that looked like. I was like, all right, I make money by being me, put it all over my vision board. And then it was literally like 9 days later, I found out I was pregnant. And then like a few months later, I found out it was triplets. And then my social media literally took off. Like I posted that I was pregnant with triplets, I think in February, and it's like beginning of May. And I gained like 30-something thousand followers in that time. Yeah. And it's been really cool because I'm like, okay, I feel like this is it. Like I can literally just post videos, and that's what I've been doing, like day in the life, videos of my life, like working out with triplets, what I eat in the day, being pregnant with triplets, or this is how I clean my house, or just literally just what I'm already doing. And then I just record it. Yeah. And people are like clinging to it and they're loving it. And I'm like, okay, this is really cool. And I'm having brands reach out to me for deals, and like, I'm trying to start getting like paid opportunities so I can start making money instead of like just getting stuff from this. And it's super cool. It's also on the other end, like the comments from some people, like just people that are just like trolling Instagram will come and say like the meanest things to me, or about my kids, or make fun of how I look, or like comment on mine and my husband's sex life, or just be like so horrible. And it was terrible at the beginning. I was like, and I was obsessed. I was fighting back with every comment. I was like, you don't know me, you're probably really sad, and and I'm like, okay, hurt people. And all these accounts, like 99% of them are anonymous. Like they
they're crap.
Make a fake account to fight with people. And so I just like honestly stopped reading the comments because I was like, there's a lot of, most are encouraging, but the few hurtful ones that get in there, I'm like, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. Like, I'm so sensitive. I'm like, people are like, I don't know, just the things they're saying about me. I'm like letting it get to me. I'm like, wait, this person probably lives in like Israel. They don't even know who I am.
Right. No, they're a bot or something.
They're like being mean to me, and I'm taking it personal, thinking about their one comment for a week and crying about it. Like, it's so sad. So it's been a process. I'm still kind of working through it, but yeah.
It's funny. I've got less than 5,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
But I've been growing it a little bit the last year because it's a goal of mine. And you know Brett Shell,
Yes,
right?
I love Brett.
Yeah, so him and I are working on this thing where we're gonna get to 1 million followers. It's like kind of our vision board, right?
That's awesome.
And we're gonna do it through YouTube and like merging audiences and helping other people and kind of rise all ships is kind of like the idea behind it. So we'll see if it works. But even with the followers I have, like I'll post stuff about my kids, you know, and I'll have people say like shit, and I'm like, I actually just delete them generally, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the other day, someone took a pop shot at one of my kids, and I actually took the comment and I put it in my stories, and I was just like, hey shithead, if you're gonna come at me in like an anonymous way, like, you know, basically come out with your real name kind of thing, say who you are if you want to say this nasty stuff.
Yeah.
And even with that though, I was like, Mark, like, why are you doing this?
It's so hard
like
not
just
to.
delete the comment.
Yeah.
Like, you know what to do with this,
Yeah.
you know, because I've like, you know, I've worked in social media for a long time,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, just delete it. And now that's what I do now, right? If someone says anything I don't, even if I misunderstand it, they're being nice, delete.
Yeah.
Because I don't even want to get through the whole paragraph before I'm like, get rid of
Exactly. Don't want to keep reading it and thinking about it. Yeah.
this. Yeah. We had the weirdest thing happen to me the other day. I had this guy like say something nice to me, and I was like, oh yeah, thanks bro, you know, or whatever. And he goes, are you and your wife into, would you and your wife like to have a toy, something? And I was like, what?
No.
I read this thing like 4 times, and I was like, I don't actually know what you're asking. So I just hit it back. I'm like, no, bro, not really interested. And then he hit me back again. He's basically wanting to be like a submissive sexual person in our marriage. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, no, bro, like honestly, not my jam.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know anyone that is? And I'm like,
Oh
I
my
have
gosh.
no idea who's into this stuff.
He's just a random guy.
Just a random guy,
Oh
but
my
it was
gosh.
an actual profile.
Yeah.
Like well, he doesn't have that many pictures on there because obviously I
But it was like a real person, not like
yeah. It's
oh
not
my
like
gosh.
like user 73. It was whatever his name was, like first and last name, and I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's so funny. Yeah.
But my thing on social media, if people hit me directly, I'm generally kind for at least twice, and then either delete you or blast you. It's normally delete you, but
yeah. I've gotten a lot of like salesy messages. Like people are like, "Come sell Monet" or all this stuff. I'm like, no, thank you. And I'm like trying to be kind, but also, it's a lot.
I'll tell you, my good friend Derek runs Trend Management. In fact, do you follow Holly Woodward on social media?
Probably. That name is familiar.
Yeah,
What?
she's about 1.3 million followers.
Okay, I
so
might.
pretty brown-haired girl that lives in
Okay.
Tennessee. Yeah, so she's my friend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so he manages. I don't know. I'm not sure how big his firm is, but it's probably about 100 girls now.
Oh yeah.
So he started managing her, right, and then it just
That's
kind of
awesome.
grew and grew and grew and grew and
Yeah.
grew. So if you ever need help with that, let me know, because he's perfect for that.
I've actually been interviewing with a few different management companies and trying to
okay.
like get my page up and my goals. So
Well, let me connect you then.
yeah, I
because,
would love that.
I don't know who the best is, right?
Yeah.
But I know that they are really, really good.
Oh yeah.
So and they
That'd
do
be awesome.
And he's an investor mind like me, right? So he actually
Oh.
he'll get you better deals because he'll take equity in companies, and there's
Oh, yeah.
different things with that. You're not just getting paid to post, or you're
Yeah.
not just an affiliate.
Oh cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
depending on what
I'd be
product
super
line.
interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Really good. So do you have a goal with it?
I just want to make money off it. Right now, I feel like brands are really like they're only willing to give free stuff, which is like great. Like I just got my whole nursery furnished, 3 cribs, a dresser, and a changing table. It was like $3,000 worth of stuff to post a reel and a couple stories. So I'm like, stuff like that I actually need is worth it.
Were they very direct with you on that deal? Did they say we want 3 reels, 2, or whatever?
Yeah. They were like, it was funny because they reached out and they're like, hey, we want to collaborate with you. And I was like, and I had a couple other furniture companies reach out to me, but I was like, I'm going to get what I want if I'm going to like be posting about this. So I was like, I know this is a lot to ask. I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I was like, if you don't want to, it's okay. But I really do need 3 of the same crib, because companies are like, we'll give you 1 crib. I'm like, well, I'm having triplets. Like I need 3 cribs. And then they're like, we'll throw in this and we'll throw in this. And I'm like, amazing. They're like, hey, we just want you to post these stories and then 1 reel of your finished nursery. And I'm like, done. Like that's something I would do anyways. So that's like amazing.
Yeah.
And so my goal, I think, is to make money off it. I don't have like a number yet, but I want to do, and I really am trying to make content that's like true to me. I can feel myself when I'm like, oh, I haven't made any reels this week, or I haven't done any posts this week. And so I'll go and like try to like fish for something or try something, and it like doesn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to like make reels of things that I'm already doing, like not go out and do something just to create content around it. because I feel like that's how I'll be less burnt out. Because I've tried to do Instagram before I really had a niche. Like my best friend, she's an influencer and she will make money from it. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do it. And I would like post stuff that wasn't really me. And then I would like cringe at myself and be like, that just doesn't feel like me. So it's just my goal is just to make money by being me. Yeah. So
I like that. I actually think that's the right way to go. Yeah. Especially because you've hit a vein. So now you're good. Oh, yeah. Right? Because like with me, like, Jimmy and I joke all the time because, his Instagram's very curated. And mine's not. If you ever look at mine, I'm just like, I feel like this. Just, what I mean? Just whatever. And it drives me nuts when people take like 10 photos. I'm always like, just pop one. If someone's eyes are closed, oh well. And like, and he teases me. He's like, yeah, you just put it wherever you want. I'm like, that's exactly what I do. Just whatever I feel like right in the moment. Exactly. But it comes across, I think it comes across more authentic.
100%. Right? And I can feel like when I'm following influencers, like there's been a lot that I've unfollowed recently because I feel like you can feel when they're not being authentic and that energy like goes through and it's like, okay, you're just trying to sell me, or like, I really don't want my whole page to be ads. Like, exactly. That's like the opposite of what I want. So yeah. I'm like,
well, your followers will mute you in 2 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People don't want to see that. And especially with like over consumerism right now, I'm like, my goal is actually not to make money by like just getting people to buy stuff. Like if a company wants to pay me to like wear something in a reel and I tag the company, that's great. But I don't want to be like, go buy this or da-da-da, because I don't want to see that. Nobody wants to see that. So.
Right. Yeah. And we know now, right? Yeah. That was tactics 5 years ago. Right?
Yeah. Instagram's changed so much too. Yeah.
Are you doing YouTube at all?
No, but I want to. Casey actually bought a camera to do YouTube. So,
because YouTube's a different platform, right? So I own a company with 2 guys, right, called Scallywag Media, and it's a YouTube thing, right? The reason why is because Instagram, right, you have to like grow your following and then pay Instagram to like market to your own people, right? That's the way they built it. YouTube's the exact opposite. YouTube wants good content, and if you give them good content, they pay you to be on there. And then when you start doing sponsorship deals, it's more like, hey, I'll give you $25,000 if you do a 5-minute video on all this furniture or like whatever. And then you can start doing that, and then you can be on other people's channels. And this is what Brett Shell and I are doing. Okay. So everyone that's coming into our office building is going to have their own YouTube, and we're just going to we're going to all build together.
Oh, that's cool.
Because the best way to do it is to merge audiences, right? Yeah. So if I have 500,000 subscribers, you've got 40,000 subscribers, and someone else has 70 or whatever, right? Like you just keep on doing videos with each other, and then audiences go, oh, he's with this person. Oh, this is cool. I'll follow them, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But it's all about good content. Yeah. And that's really the paramount part of it.
Yeah. Do you know the Chatwin family? Have you heard of them? They also have Triplets. Mm-mm. They're a big YouTube family, and they're big on Instagram, like over 1 million followers on Instagram. But they posted a thing the other day of like, what are their top ways that they make money? Number one is YouTube. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, okay. I should do that. And I hate editing all my like daily vlog videos into like a minute or less. So I'm like, YouTube would be perfect for that. So we thought about doing YouTube.
Yeah, we'll have to talk more about that. So in June, we're starting to do a monthly course. Oh, cool. So people can pay $250 a month, and there's a Zoom call every week, and you just jump on it and ask any question you want, and blah, 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 blah. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, we can get it set up. So my 2 partners are Nick Russo and Jonah Moreno, right? Okay. They have over 10 billion views on YouTube.
Oh my gosh,
that's crazy. Are elite. Yeah. And so,
that's awesome.
And Jonah does creative directing, and Nick does like back end stuff, and they both can kind of cross over for sure. So for some of our higher end clients, like the Bucket List family.
Yes,
so
I love them.
They're like a client of ours.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we're working on National Geographic right now, and so but we edit for them. We
do what I need.
There's a whole gamut of everything.
Yeah. I'm like, that's what I can take the videos all day. It takes me weeks to edit them. I just put it off. It's so hard.
Well, see, and we're actually working with Casey. We found a guy through his new company, right, to do the thing, but it didn't really work out. So we're still trying to work on that with him, because we're getting to the point where we're going to have like a stable of probably 20 or 30 editors.
Oh, and so that's awesome.
Yeah, people can just send us their raw data. We make it the way that it's supposed to be, and then post it for you, and kind of keep it rolling.
I know Casey was actually going to look for some people for me, because I'm like, editing is my worst.
It sucks. Yeah.
I can take all the content, and I can be in the content, and I can post it, but yeah.
Well, making the content's pretty easy.
Yeah.
That's why I actually like Rookery, because I don't do any of the editing. They do it all. So I just come in here, we record, they do it, they put it up. Need.
Yeah. Like my life would be so much easier.
Oh, if I was editing, it just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's hard.
So, well, cool. So what's tell me about your podcast. I mean, I know about it, so tell the listeners about your podcast.
So it's actually funny, because I remember talking to you when we met at the Brazil couples trip, and that was like right when I started thinking about doing a podcast. And then I found out you had a podcast and I was talking to you about it. And I was like, okay, after I left that trip, I was like, I'm going to do it.
Nice.
I'm going to do a podcast. It took me 6 months to start it, but I started it. We're actually coming up on a year, episode every week. It's going good. It's growing. We have had some pretty big listeners on. We're actually doing a birthday party for our podcast, podcast birthday party to celebrate our 1 year. But we have had a couple people like reach out to us about like ads and stuff. So
nice.
I'm like, it's pretty, yeah. I honestly, when I started it, I was like, I'm not doing this for listeners. I'm just going to do this so I can network, like meet people, which it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Have kind of like a journal. And I feel like everyone should have a podcast. Yeah. I'm like, even if you're not planning on like growing it big, but it's been really fun. We've met so many people through it and had really cool opportunities. And I'm actually interviewing my mom tonight to be on it for like a Mother's Day thing. Yeah. But yeah, it's been going good. Yeah.
No, I think I agree with you that most people need to have a podcast or some version of it.
Yeah.
And so I feel a shift in podcasting. I don't know if tell me what your opinion is on this. Short form videos perform the best. Yes. Right. And so when you have a podcast, it's really good because you basically film a long form episode, right? And then you can chop it up into whatever you want, right? Yeah. Either reels or shorts or small stuff, right? And I think what actually works best for people is when they're actually talking directly into the camera most of the time and giving advice or education or some sort of expertise, and then you do 80% that and 20% long form like actual conversations like this. Yeah. So I used to pop out 2 episodes a week, and I only do 1 now. Yeah. And the reason why is because I needed to practice. Yeah. Right. And I hope old guests don't be offended by that. Right. But like, you're not good the day you start. Yeah. Right? So like, you kind of have to get going. So you're probably like my 184th-ish episode, something like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
how long have you been doing this for?
So August will be 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So and then I got, really gung-ho at the start, right? Just like, and the thing with me is funny. I've got another 300 names on my list of just people I know that I can bring on. Because a lot of people run out of guests, right? Or it's a nightmare at some level, right? To like plan stuff. Oh, like my 4th guest today canceled, right? And so I'm like, like, okay, I'll reschedule you next time, Yep. But like, with life, especially your life, real soon, right? You're going to have to really fit those time slots in. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. We've kind of made it so at first we were like, okay, we're going to interview a guest every week. But it's kind of funny. Our interviews, depending on the guest, sometimes we'll have like really big guests on and those will get a lot of listens. But our episodes where my friend and I, her name is also Ashley, so it's called The Double Scoop, Ashley and Ashley. When we're just like chatting or like riffing or just talking about a topic, just her and I feel like those episodes tend to do better for our listeners versus like me interviewing someone. Cause I don't know, I feel like maybe it's more where our audience is like moms, a lot of moms, maybe it's more like of a casual listen while they're driving or dishes or something. And those are actually one of my favorite, like probably my favorite episodes to record because we just get together, no plan, and just like talk about what's going on for the week. And I don't know. So do you guys record once a week or do you bank them? Yeah, we record once a week. Yeah. We were doing twice a week. It's so hard. I'm like, especially with life getting so busy now, even one night a week to go record. And then I go and I listen to the whole episode and then I send my edits to Casey and then Casey will edit it and then I'll listen to it with Casey. It's just like a lot. I'm like, it takes up a couple nights a week just podcasting. I'm like, hey, I got to figure something out. But so let me ask you this. Why do you edit? It's usually, sometimes we'll say something and be like, okay, cut that out. Yeah. Like if we said something we don't want public or something, or if a guest is like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. Yeah. We usually don't edit a ton in the middle, but then it's like adding our intro or our extra and then edit the part that takes the longest is editing the video with the sound, putting those together and but no, that makes sense. Yeah. So with mine, right? Like I'll only edit generally if the guest wants something cut. Yeah. And so, and I really like to honor that with people. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people, I'll tell them that too. Like, it's like, hey, if you don't like anything, just let me know. We'll just chop it. Yeah. Right? And I've had 2 people chop the entire episode and re-record. Oh my gosh. They're like, I hate it. I know in my mind, I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, you said wasn't that bad. I think you think it's worse, but yeah. We've actually got a lot more lenient. Like I'll be like, I don't care. Or I'll like say something episode. I'm like, oh, whatever. I don't care. Just move on.
And so we won't edit those out.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I feel like I was like, oh my gosh, I said too many times. We have to edit out all the ums, or I shouldn't have said this, or I would like start saying something and then I'd stumble on my words and I'd be like, let me start over. Cut that out. I'm going to start over. I felt like it had to be perfect, but now I'm just like, eh.
I'll tell you the thing that my early episodes is I in conversation, I go, like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Now, as an employer to employee, which is most of my interactions, right? I also have my friends and family.
Right.
They need that, right? Because you need to be like, do you understand? Yep,
Yes.
everything's good, And I'm like, but when you listen to that back, I'm like, oh, I got to like shut up during these things. Yeah.
That's me. Oh, I'm so bad. I've even noticed myself a few times in this episode because I'll get like so excited about a topic. I'll interrupt so many times and be like, yes, yes, yes. And I've had to do that too.
That's actually a fine line too, right? Because the energy in the episode by feeling that way is really good.
Yeah.
Right. But you also have to kind of keep it flowing.
So
right?
people are like hearing all these voices. Yeah. It's hard when I'm interviewing like two guests because it's like me and Ashley will interview together. So if we interview one or two guests, like we interviewed a couple from Survivor, and that was our first like 4-person interview, but it was a lot because I would have a question or Ashley would have a question and then they're talking and they're a married couple and they're talking over each other and we're talking over them, and I was like, okay, this audio is awful, but yeah,
but we're throwing it out anyways.
We're doing it anyway. It got a lot of views.
Yeah, no, exactly. I this week on Jimmy's podcast was an episode with me, Nick Howland, and Michael McHenry.
Oh,
right?
that's fun.
And I was like, Jimmy, dude, you have put way too many talkers in here. And
Yeah.
it did. And yet, I mean, the episode ended up being fine, right? Actually, it's probably pretty good, depending. If you know us, you probably love it, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, I know these guys and they're being funny and whatnot,
Right.
But like, there is a gobbled up gunk of stuff if you don't like keep it. In fact, Jimmy had to like cut it in the middle, and I'm not going to call him out, but it's Michael McHenry. But he
I won't say names,
he was interrupted too much, right? So he's like, hey, blah, blah, blah. They end up cutting it out. So,
that's funny.
But it's because he's the exact same way. He's very excited, He's
Yes.
like, oh, I'm with my buddies and we're talking about stuff we love, we're kind of getting into
Right.
it, and is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So people ask me this all the time, so I'm going to ask you.
Yeah.
What's your goal with the podcast?
Yeah, that is a really good question because I get asked that question too. I think at the beginning it was like, I thought maybe that was probably my thing, that I was going to make money by being me.
Yeah.
I think I still could use it to make money, but I actually don't want to have that as a goal because I feel like there's a lot of pressure, and I've had friends get signed up with, I don't know, what do you call them? Agencies or whatever, studios or whatever that will like own their podcast. And I feel like I don't want the pressure of like having a boss over me telling me like, you have to do things this way or you have to have this guest on or whatever. So I'm just going to keep it going as long as I can. I did tell my co-host Ashley, I was like, when the triplets come and like before the triplets come, like I am not setting expectations. I'm probably gonna have to take a break or record once a week or once a month or whatever it is, slow down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, just keep going and wherever it goes.
Yeah, honestly, I have the same answer.
Yeah.
Right? I put some milestones in there just so I can not be OCD nightmare, right?
Yeah.
But it's 200 episodes is when I'm going to actually do a data, which is like coming up, right? It'll probably be another like 10 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But when I hit that number, I'm going to actually look at the data and go, okay, is this a sustainable business model, or do I want to flip it into a sustainable business model?
Yeah.
The answer is probably no, and I'll probably extend that a year. I think
Yeah.
I'll probably go till a year from this August, and just
Yeah.
so that'll be 3 years in. Check it out, see what I like, right?
Yeah.
But one of the I can monetize anything, right?
Yeah.
And so my mind will kind of go there a lot, right? And so I like that I'm in the creative space where I'm not doing that.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I don't know. It's
I
hard,
know.
right?
It's funny because I actually feel like it's kind of hard to make money podcasting. And I've talked to like Jimmy, like a lot of big podcasters, and they're like, yeah, like you can throw in 1 million ads in your episodes. Your listeners aren't going to like that.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, people will be like, oh my gosh, are you guys like making so much money already? I'm like, no,
Yeah, no.
we're not making anything actually.
Yeah.
I'm spending my time. I'm probably spending money, but it's something that I enjoy. It keeps me sane, especially not being a working mom right now. Like, I love the networking part of podcasting. I love it. I've met so many cool people that, like, I'm friends with them now because I didn't even know who they were before. Reached out to them on Instagram, invited them on my podcast, and now we're friends. And it's really, really cool. That's probably my favorite part of it. And then being able to go back and listen to the episodes of like, oh my gosh, this is what I was going through. Cause we get really vulnerable on our podcast. Our whole thing is like vulnerability with a scoop of humor. Like it's not heavy, but we just tell what we're going through. And I love it. Cause I'm like, oh my gosh, here in January, I was saying how sick I was because I was pregnant, not knowing that I was going to have triplets. And then here I am in March being like, oh my gosh, I'm having triplets. That explains it. And just like watching my progress through it. So I'll probably do it as long as I can and not worry about monetizing it. But
see, I agree with you. I think it's a really, really good networking tool.
Yeah.
And so, I'm probably about to turn I'm actually going to turn the corner here where I'm going to go after more impactful guests, I guess is the way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Even to be honest, the last couple of months, I've kind of already had that in my mind, right?
Yeah.
Because, these people that asked to come on your podcast, right? And historically, I've actually been like, sure, come on, who gives a crap, you know what I mean? And now I'm like, no, we're kind of protecting the gate.
Yeah.
I've been like that for about 6 months.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's true, especially because, I don't know, I've actually had a lot of people. So when we first started our podcast, I was so big, still am, like in this self-healing space, like meeting all these people in Jimmy's group and my group, like had really crazy, cool life stories. Didn't have a huge following on Instagram, but they like had crazy stories that I'm like, oh my gosh, I want you on my podcast to tell your story. And then Ashley, my friend, she's in like the influencer world. So she has a lot of connections with people who have big followings on Instagram. And we were kind of having a hard time mixing. Like, I'm like, but I want to have these like impactful, like people who've like had a hard life stories come on. And then on the other hand, we were having really casual conversations with people with big followings. And people actually would tell us, I like that you're not just interviewing every Utah influencer. Because like a lot of girls that start a podcast, they'll just interview influencers. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think people really like listening to real people that have stories behind or like something to teach people or they've actually like overcome something. So yeah, and the ones where I felt like we were interviewing people just because they had a big following, I'm like, I actually don't know what to talk to them about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like those conversations didn't seem to flow as well. Yeah. So we got a lot of feedback. Like, I love that you guys have real people that I can connect to and they're not just influencers.
Yeah. I'm one of those audience members. It's such it's like a two-edged sword, right? Because these people, they're polished. Yes. And they know what they're doing, which is good. Yeah. Right? But then on the other side, it's also like, they're going to give you the pat answer. So like Jimmy and I had this conversation a few times where, having athletes on.
Oh yeah.
Right. And you can kind of pay people and they'll like load up like 15, like big time athletes for you if you want. Right. And I haven't done it yet. And I actually Jimmy's going to do it again. I just did a round and he asked me if I want to participate. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. But the problem is because these athletes come in and they give the same freaking answers they've done for 20 years. Yeah. And it's like, Yeah. In fact, Jimmy had Lamar Odom on. Do you know who that is?
No.
He was the one that was married to like Khloe Kardashian.
Oh, okay.
And then he like went to like the bunny ranch and like did coke for like 4 days. Oh my gosh. And like almost died. Like it was like,
sheesh.
Oh yeah. His life's crazy, but he doesn't share any of it.
Oh,
right. So when Jimmy's trying to interview him, right, it like just doesn't work. And so I'm not even sure if he put the episode out because it's short. It's like 10 minutes.
No way.
Yeah. It's just, Jimmy was just like, all right, well, guess we're done with this one,
Yeah, I won't talk about
Jimmy's
it.
Efficient. So it's like.
He's like, over.
Yeah. But he interviewed, Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
Right? Who's wildly controversial.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he could have been the pinnacle of football and just blew up and, there's all these things. And I mean, they got into it a little bit, but it's just nothing you haven't heard before.
Yes.
It's kind of like the speaking circuit, right? Like some of these bigger speakers, like they have these events, right? I'm not to call anyone out, but, they just speak all day. And it's like, it's the same stuff I listen to on your Instagram.
Yes, exactly. The same content.
Yeah. Tell me something new. What's going on? That's why like right now it's like perfect for you, right? Like triplets. It's like very few people get to do this as the woman.
I know. Exactly. Well, I love it too because I like wear my heart on my sleeve. I'll tell people everything about me, which I probably need to like change now that I'm having like more followers. But Casey and I did an episode together on my podcast, just talking about our relationship and stuff. And then after, I got a couple DMs of people like asking for more details of things that we shared, and I'm like, oh. Maybe, and I like vaguely went over some stuff because I didn't want to like air all our dirty laundry, but I'm like, oh wow, now that I have like a bigger following, I gotta like, I love being vulnerable, but I also gotta be a little bit careful about what I share because people.
No, there's something in the box you have to keep in there all the time.
Yes.
Right.
Casey and I always talk about we went through like a betrayal, and that's kind of what brought Casey into WAT and all this stuff, and it was the catalyst for all of our healing and self progress. But when I was first going through that experience, I was telling everyone everything. I was like, I just like needed the support, and I wanted people to see me. And I felt like this story that I had in my mind was now my identity. And it was just like this whole thing. And I think it was on a Walk Queens call, but someone was saying like, we don't share our pearls to swine. Like there's some things that we like keep sacred and close to us. And I don't know why I never got that concept before, because I would put it out there and I sometimes and often wouldn't get the reaction that I wanted, or like, I don't know. It was a story that was so sacred to me and still is so sacred to me. And then I would share with people, and then they would like tell other people, or like, it was just like gossip to them. And that was really hard on me, because I was like, this is like, you're a close friend of mine, and this is like something that's so sacred to me, and I'm telling you. Or like, I don't know, I would just share it and people just want the gossip about it, like ask for details that are just gossip. And I'm like, okay, so that's actually been like, I keep that on my mind all the time. Like, don't share my pearls to swine. Like, I'll share things about me that like help make me me, but like, I don't need to give everyone all the details and go into everything, because it's
because you can't really trust the masses.
No, and people don't care about me. I mean, not in a rude way. People don't, like, they care about themselves, and it's like, nobody cares about me. And so they're going to, if they have juicy gossip about me, they're going to talk about it. Like, it's just how it is, unfortunately. But I mean, not just me, but anyone, like, and gossip about anyone. So
no, 100%. This whole industry is built around that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The
Exactly.
TMZ world, right? Like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. I see people pretty easy, right? And so it's like, you know, are you like hurt, or are you like a miserable ass person? You know what I mean? Like all of the above.
Yes.
You know, like I just, it blows my, like one of the things that I get all the time on my Instagram is people call me, oh, you're just an alpha male. You're an alpha male.
Gosh,
you're alpha male. Which is funny in the fact that I hate that term.
Yeah.
Right. It drives me crazy. It just screams douchebag to me. Right. That's
Right.
the first thing I think. But then at the same time, I'm like, well, the actual alpha dog, like when you really look at it, it's like a wildly important thing inside society. And they exist at every level of like the hierarchy. You know what I mean? And they're also your business drivers. They're also your friend driver. You know what I mean? Like in the pure sense of the word, like it's actually a good thing.
Yes.
But like our society thinks it's so bad,
Yeah.
you know? And it's also funny, like if you call me an alpha male, like it's not going to offend me.
No, you're like, thanks.
Right. I'm like, yeah, okay. Are you unmarried and 40?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. That's
yeah, exactly.
So what do you think about society right now? Because you're younger. How old are you?
29. I'm going to be 30 this month.
Wow. You're still in your 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, what do you think about the world? Like, do you like the United States? Like, do you like the population? You think we're going in a good direction?
It's funny. In 2020, I got so involved, just like a lot of people, right? With politics and with everything going on there. I was like really angry inside and it would like spill out on Instagram, and I would fight with people on Instagram and just have a lot of opinions about things. I feel like I've taken a step back from all of that and being like so involved in what's going on in the outside world. Casey's still very involved. My husband, for anyone who doesn't know who Casey is. And so he'll tell me things. He'll be like, we're about to like burst into World War III right now. Like, you know, we're about to, I'm like, you've been saying that for years. I'm like, you've been saying that for years. I feel like there's a lot of scare tactics. I feel like there's a lot of people who are, I feel like there's this split between like people who are trying to gain control and then a lot of people realizing that they're trying to gain control. So they're like taking a huge rebellious step back, and not even, I say rebellious, but I don't mean that in a negative way. I think like maybe in a good way too. But I definitely think that people are seeing things for like not wanting to be controlled. And so people are gaining more independence. But yeah, I know it's like election year and all this stuff coming up. I'm like trying to stay away from it. It just put me in such a dark place last time. I feel like 2020 was just bad for everyone also, but
no, I think that's very wise. It's also very, very true, right?
Yeah.
Like I stopped watching the news. I think it was in 2021. It might have been 2020, but because I was getting real sick of just everything. I was getting sick of being lied to.
Yeah.
Like that's the bottom line, right?
Yes.
Like I don't believe a freaking thing on the news.
Yes. I'm like, even whatever side you're on, like I was so far one side, and then things would come out and people would be like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then like it wouldn't. or like I would feel like my side like betrayed me, and I'm like, this is bonkers. Like, I feel like I really can't trust anyone. Like, even like there's presidential candidates out there right now that I'm like, okay, like maybe I like this guy, and I'm like following him, and then something will come out, and I am like, I like to read comments on things because I like to see people's opposing opinions. I don't like to just take the post for whatever it's worth. But yeah, it's a lot. My brain is like, no.
No, it's a lot too, because I think being a responsible member of society, you want to be an informed voter.
Totally.
Right?
100%.
And the more you consume of this content, like my current thing right now, and this might be a little ignorant, but the war in Ukraine, right?
Yes.
I'm just like, where's the bodies?
Yeah.
I am so sick of hearing about this war in Ukraine because I honestly don't believe it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And so, and it's the largest money laundering scheme of all time that just happened there, and no one cares. It's like the craziest thing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's literally, I feel like, because Casey is, his personality type, like it's like a safety thing for him. He's like, what's going on in the world? What do I need to do to prepare to keep my family safe? Like, he's very involved with all of it, and he's less involved than he was in 2020. Like, I think he's good at reading all sides instead of like just one side. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like he's coming to me every day with like a new piece of news that's like, we got to be careful because this is happening. I'm like, I don't want to hear about anything right now. Like, I got triplets coming. I'm thinking about that, and then
let's pretend this doesn't exist for 3 years.
Yeah,
which you can pretty much do it, right? Because as soon as the election's over, like no one cares for like 3 years.
Exactly. I'm like, the only reason things are so crazy right now, and there's World War III happening or whatever's about starting, is it's literally 2024.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
So yeah.
So outside of the triplets, what else is coming down for the Henson family? What's Casey keeping himself busy doing? Because I know he had an exit from his company, right?
Yeah. So which is all cool. It's all kind of part of our story. Like, we worked together at his startup company for like 5 years. It was hard. It was so hard working together as husband and wife. I ran HR, and I was on the executive team with him. I was pretty much over people. Like, I was like people and HR, and I like did the whole outbound department. So his company was basically a call center for dental offices. They would take inbound calls, do outbound calls, and then we started doing insurance verification and just started growing and doing a lot of other stuff in the dental world. But we grew to like 250 employees, and it was so hard. It was really hard on our marriage. That's why I say, like, when we hit rock bottom, like, we were married, but like totally roommates. Like, we worked together on the executive team, and he was COO, and then he exited, let's see, what year was that? 2022, like May 2022. Yeah, it's been 2 years this month. Yeah. And then I quickly quit that. I was like, I don't want to be here if you're here. It's funny because the company's still going. Yeah. He still has some equity in the company. And I like look at the company like it's my baby, but also it's like a little traumatic for me. I'm like, those are like dark times, but also like it's our baby. Like, we built it from the ground up. Yeah. And so exiting was really, really good for us. He wasn't planning on selling any equity when he exited, and then he was able to sell some to a partner, which was good because I feel like when you start a company, you don't pay yourself, right? Yeah. So like, and we were both working at this company, not really paying ourselves. We had 2 kids at this point. And we were able to take some money out to like help us get started with life, I feel like. Yeah. And it's been so good. And he's taken time off. I would say time off. He's been doing Talent, his recruiting company, which has been good, but he doesn't feel this pressure to like overwork himself to try to like hurry and pay himself, because we have some cushion right now, which has been really nice. But I don't know. He like loves this idea of like YouTube and content creation. Like, that's like where his passion is. So we're kind of playing around with the idea of like seeing what happens with my Instagram, and maybe we'll just be like a YouTube family. Honestly, that would be the dream. And I feel dumb saying it out loud, but I'm like, why do I feel dumb? Because if that's our dream job, is just like record our family and make money on it, that's awesome. Like, who would want to do that? So
plus, if you love it and you're good at it, why not?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And honestly, having him home these last 2 years, like, he'll work from home and sometimes he'll have to like leave and stuff, but it's been life-changing. Like, having him home with our 2 kids, and about to have 3 more. We'll have 5 kids, 3 and under, because our daughter Sunny will turn 4 in September. So I'll have that title for a couple months. But I'm like, I don't want you to go back to work a corporate job, like where you have to be there 9 to 5 or late nights. Like, I love that you can be home and work your own schedule and do whatever. So that's the goal, is for him to keep doing that. And hopefully we can start making money through YouTube or content creating. But he loves that stuff. Like, he loves editing our podcast. He loves editing videos and doing all that. So
good.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
We'll see where it goes.
And marriage is in a good spot, you said?
Yeah.
You could have alluded to it, right?
Yeah. It's so crazy because, yeah, like we went through a really hard time. It's so funny because we got married really young, Utah, like literally met in October 2015, married June 2016. So like so fast.
Dude, that's exactly what Michelle and I did.
7
We
months.
got married in October, got married in June. Yeah.
Okay. I don't feel so. I'm like,
well, I was 22 and she was 20.
Okay. I just turned 22. So we were both 22. Yeah. Just so young. We luckily waited a long time, 4 or 5 years to have kids. And I feel like we got good time together and we were like best friends, but it wasn't super deep, maybe from his end. Like, I feel like I was the one that was always going to therapy, or I have a lot of childhood trauma, like I guess who doesn't, but I was like working on it. And Casey was the guy that had no trauma and was just like perfect and like never shared insecurities or emotions or anything with me. And then we were working a lot together, started having kids, roommate phase. But I was like, oh, this is normal, right? And then boom, kind of hit, I would say, rock bottom through a betrayal. But we absolutely, like, we talk about that. I'm like, that's the biggest blessing that ever could have happened to us, because we are so intentional with our relationship now. Like, we're so intentional on getting connection. Like, every day, like, we get intentional time together every day. Whereas before it was like, oh yeah, whatever. We would just sit on our phones in bed or like not take time to really get to know each other. Like, he can be emotional with me now and like share his fears, whereas before he never would, because he's like, oh, I don't want to scare my wife or, let her think that I'm weak. But yeah, our relationship, I'm like, the last 2 years have been so good for us, like learning about breath work and learning about just everything that we've learned and all these tools that we have now. That's not just like the typical, like, go to therapy and talk to someone. Like, we did couples therapy, and honestly, I feel like it made it worse. Really? That's not to like say that couples therapy is bad, but for us, it was just like learning to connect through like a deep spiritual level, or like, I don't know, a lot of other ways. So we have so many tools in our toolbox that we've been practicing using over the last 2 years. Yeah. And we have so many more friends and such a huge support group because of our groups that we're in. I'm like, man, we're in a really good place. So
yeah, good. I love hearing that stuff.
Even though he's out of town right now and I kind of relate to him, but it's okay.
Well, you're pregnant.
Yeah. My mom's in town. She's helping me. So.
Oh, that's cool. Good. So what do you think the best thing that you've got out of Gentle Warrior is?
Oh, wow. I would say experiencing and feeling feminine energy and like being and living in my feminine while feeling like powerful and being able to be like independent and not codependent. Actually, I'm going to change that. Say interdependent and not codependent, because I had this habit of like really bad codependency. And then I would feel that, and then I'd go back to independence, and I would like be like, I don't need you at all. Like, I can do it all. And that's not good. Like, he needs to feel needed, and I can't just operate at that in my masculine all the time. So really learning about like, okay, I have to travel. I have to get out of codependence, and I have to learn that I can be independent if I need to, but it's really this interdependence, like not placing expectations on Casey to where it's like, if he doesn't do something or if he acts in a way that hurts me, like it affects my whole personality, or it affects who I am, or like I can completely be independent from his choices, but also like I can still need him in my life. And my retreats for Gentle Warrior have been huge. Like, they're very like feminine and like powerful at the same time. And I've never felt that both have existed in my life before. I'm like, if I'm feminine, then I'm not powerful. If I'm powerful, then I'm not feminine. And so I just felt like I really got to like experience that, like, no, like I am in my feminine and my husband can serve me, do all these things, and I can receive, but also like I'm so like I don't need him to do this for me. Like I can still completely operate on my own. So Gentle Warrior has been really cool, especially being a parent too. Like, I don't know, the whole thing with just expectations and codependency. I feel like that's Taryn's whole thing in the group is like letting go of expectations and codependency. And that's been huge for me. So
yeah, that sounds very needed actually in society.
Yeah. I feel like I used to be a little bit afraid to talk about it or post about it on social media of like, oh, like I want my husband to take out the trash, or like I do need my husband. Like I need him, and I tell him I need him, and he loves it. He loves to be needed. People would be like, you don't need him. Da, da, da. And I'm like, here's the thing. Like I want to receive.
Yeah.
Like that's where I feel the most safe and the most powerful. But also it's healthy because if he's not, like I'm fine. Like I'm not going to fall apart and crumble. So.
No, I love that. I think the current phase of feminism is a freaking joke.
Oh my gosh, I hate it. I hate it. It's rooting everything.
But I'm telling you, I think the next phase of feminism, right? Because there's going to be some women that rise out of this, and they're going to be like, listen, like, they're going to say exactly what you just said. I choose him. I want him.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that I don't need a guy because I want my partner.
Yeah.
But I'm still me.
Yes.
Right? I really think that is the next, it'll be the thing that saves feminism.
100%.
Because it's hard watching as a white man, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I guess it's the favorite target these days, right? Where it's like, leave me the hell alone, right? I don't care what you've done. Yeah. But it's like, you know, we get shit on all the time. And like, to be quite honest, most times like, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, take a shot.
It does offend me, yeah.
But then when you really pull back the veil and you start looking at this whole thing, I'm like, I'm getting yelled at by these freaking nutcases with 17 cats that are 45 years old and don't even know what love is. Like,
oh my gosh,
F
exactly.
you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, who are you to talk to me? You know what I mean? Like, literally. I take care of my wife and my family and my friends. Any single person under my stewardship, I take care of.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Well, it's like the term masculine is like such a bad thing these days, I feel like, for most people. Like, people don't want a masculine man. They want a feminine man. Like, I just watched this movie last night, The Idea of You with Anne Hathaway and someone else. It's on Amazon Prime. Okay. But at the very end of the movie, she's talking about, she's like, she broke up with her boyfriend and her daughter's like, but was he a feminist? She's like, yes, he was a feminist. She was like, he was kind to you and a feminist? Like, why'd you break up with a feminist? And I'm like, I do not want a man who's a feminist. Like, I don't want no Harry Styles that's like, you know what I mean? Like, I want a man that I know can like take care of me and step in and protect me. If someone breaks into our house, I want to know that my husband will go and shoot them and defend us. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think the core tenet of that, right, is women, and it's okay to say this, need to feel safe.
100%.
Like that is almost the trade-off, right? Like men need to feel needed and wanted by their wife, right? And women need to feel safe and protected from their man. And like, then everything else flows down from there. Yeah. Because as long as you have both of those things, you can fix anything. 100%. But if you don't have those, it's bad.
Yeah, 100%. And I've noticed, because I've always operated my masculine, like always. And Casey, I feel like did operate as masculine, and then in his mind, just how he was raised and with his parents' marriage, he was like, oh, like, I'm a good husband if I let my wife own the finances. Or I'm a good husband if I let my wife, like, you go girl, you boss girl, like that type of attitude. So we operated like that for a very long time, and I never felt safe. Like, just in any way of like, oh, you're not gonna, I don't know, pay this bill. Like, I gotta make sure that I pay all the bills. I gotta make sure that if I want something done, I gotta do it for myself. And being in this whole space of learning about feminine and masculine energy, which I feel like everyone needs to know about. I have no idea why it's not like a common thing that everyone knows. I'm like, oh, if I just like sit on the couch and just like relax and be, like Casey will just like take out the trash, or he'll like go and do the dishes, or he'll just like step up and do things because he wants me to be like, he wants me to receive. So, and then I feel so much more safe. I always thought I had to to feel safe, I had to provide my own safety, or like tell him and nag him until he does it, which that's not making him feel needed. That's making him feel nagged, and like I'm his mom. And so.
No, that is the sin that women do.
Yeah.
Is they mother their partners.
Oh, it's so hard not to. It's so, even now I'm like, it's actually really cool. I've always been like the fit one in our relationship. Casey's always been fit. Like you never would be able to tell that he like never worked out or anything. But like for years, I would go to the gym every day. He would never go to the gym. And part of me was like feeling a little like unsafe about that in the sense of like, you're not like owning your health. But the last like year and a half, gym every day, like he's taking his health seriously. And I'm like, okay, like I feel so much more safe that you're like owning your health and your fitness. But even now it's hard not to. Like he'll eat something and I'm like, do you really want to be eating that? And I'm like, okay, I need to like not mother him and just let him own it.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's just like, yeah, I do.
Yeah. He's like, I'll do what I want. But.
Oh, cool. Well, hey, we're at the end of the podcast.
Oh, cool.
How fast was that?
That was so fast. Yeah.
So I always ask my guests for their best advice.
Oh, best advice. I'm sure I could say a lot, but just because this is on my mind, like releasing expectations from people, anyone, your friends, your children, your spouse, because expectations only lead to failure. And so you're never going to be happy. If someone meets your expectations, you're never actually fully satisfied and happy because you were expecting it. It's just like, okay, it is what it is. But if you don't have expectations and someone rises and helps you or whatever it is, like, then it's a win for both of you. So I guess I would say maybe just like releasing expectations of people.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I've talked to a couple of people. That's one of my very few epiphanies I've had in the last couple of years. I've called it lowering expectations, right? So like, I feel like when I'm really bothered with someone, it's because they never hit an expectation that I've generally not told them about. So it's wildly unfair to begin with. But then I'm like, you know what? If I need to know who that person is, that's my responsibility, right? To know who that person is and just put their expectations where they belong. Mm-hmm. And then you just love everyone. Yeah. Because you know that's what you expect out of them.
Oh, yeah. So it's so much easier to just have empathy for everyone.
Yeah, it's a very, very wise bit of advice.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyways, honestly, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I was excited to have you on. So
yeah, it was fun to be a guest. So thank you.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.